Check, check, check. Hey, everyone. Good day to you all. Cool. I'm going to move this microphone a little bit so maybe you guys can hear the piano a little bit more. So if I play this, are you guys able to hear that piano a little bit better that way? Go and let me know in the chat. I'd love to make sure that everyone can hear me. That's the most important thing. Hello, hello, hello. Can everyone hear me? Hey guys, great to have everyone. Go ahead and start dropping your questions in the chat. First of all, I just wanted to make sure, can everyone hear me if I play piano? Are you guys able to hear that? I just want to make absolutely sure, make sure. Sweet. Okay, cool. Let's jump in. So I'm really excited to start answering any people's questions. So Schwat says, I can't afford any vocal coaching or anything, so this is my way. Dude, there are lots and lots of really, really affordable options that you can use to start learning to sing better. I mean, like, honestly, no one's going to put their very, very best stuff on YouTube. So I would definitely recommend checking out something that's even really affordable, like for example, Master Your Voice Monthly. Like, I just opened this, and by the way, the only reason that you guys are able to see this is because you guys are on this chat right now. And so Master Your Voice is my premium singing course, where every month you get personalized feedback from me, a 5-star vocal coach, in the form of a video critique. So I actually listen to you sing something and I send back some video feedback. I give you a custom roadmap of how to work through some programmed exercises. So definitely check it out. There's a lot of really, really great stuff you can do, even really affordably like that. But let me start answering some questions. So Sashwat says, when you do breathing exercises, I usually do 4 seconds breathe in and 4 seconds hold with a smile, produced sounds, and can hold it for 16 to 20 seconds. So how long should I hold? I don't really know, Sashwat. I don't use that exercise. So I really care about actually singing rather than just doing a really long sound. I understand why some speech language pathologists do that, but I don't really care about that so much. Great question. So let's see. Man, it's like the chat is super, super delayed or something like that. So go ahead and drop your questions in the chat there, guys. I'd love to be able to answer people's questions as they have them. So, excuse me. So someone requested that I sing something. Heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? And it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the mighty fall, the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I just did that because one of the people requested that I sing something. So yeah, anyway, I try to make it about you guys rather than about me. Hopefully you guys hear the piano when I play that? If you guys can hear that, that's great. Okay, awesome. Okay, great. So Sugar says, I've been practicing mixed voice and I have the sensations down, but it sounds really gritty for some reason. Any tips? Okay, so if you're singing in mixed voice and it sounds gritty, we need to clarify what gritty means. So sometimes this is what I would define as grit, like that kind of raspy sound. Is that the way that it sounds, or is it more of like a like you're pushing up to those top notes? Because one of them is what we call the pharyngeal voice, which is more like kind of like a little bit more of like that, almost like Led Zeppelin. Hey, mama, by the way you move, like that kind of gritty sound. That's not really a full connected mixed voice. That's basically a falsetto that you've taken and you've pushed the vocal cords together really hard, which is why you're getting some of that rasp, rather than a where you're getting a full mixed voice up there. So you'll notice that none of that sounded like none of that's raspy or gritty. And that's what we want. So I would recommend that if you're getting kind of more of that raspy, gritty kind of sound, maybe you're squeezing a little too hard. Just a quick reminder, guys, we're just opening up Master Your Voice Monthly for the next couple of hours until tonight at midnight Central. No one else can get that link that I just dropped right there. Everyone else is going to pay the full $500. But if you enroll using that link right there, you're actually going to have an incredible discount and just a very, very low monthly cost. So what does Master Your Voice Monthly cost? So basically, when you sign up for Master Your Voice Monthly, the first month is called the Vocal Breakthrough Month. And that includes a 7 to 12 minute personalized video vocal assessment based on your singing, a custom roadmap for how to work through the course, hand-picked vocal exercises for your specific voice, and access to the vocal exercise library. Then after that Vocal Breakthrough Month, after that first month, you enter what's called the Vocal Maintenance Months. And the cost drops significantly in the vocal maintenance months. And so basically those provide you with ongoing access to the vocal exercise library and monthly feedback from me on your singing. It's a really, really cool deal. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to mute myself. Allergies are just terrible here right now. A. Harris says, how would you define a reasonable, acceptable percentage for pitch accuracy? Well, A. Harris, I'd be kind of curious to know how you're grading your pitch accuracy. So basically, if this is the note that you're trying to sing, this is the entire range of that note, this is one of the keys, let's say, then anytime there's only one specific frequency that lines up with that note perfectly. And anytime you're slightly sharp of that, above that, or anytime you're slightly flat of that, below that, technically you're off pitch. Now, with that said, singing on pitch all of the time is exceptionally difficult to do. Like even professional singers, like who sound like they're singing on pitch, very, very few people can do it all of the time perfectly. What's way more common is people singing very close to all the pitches that they're going to sing, at least without auto tune. So I wouldn't get too hung up on the percentages. I would really more look at like, how are you pretty close? And that's the important thing to do. Babu says, is it true that we can go 12 hours with constant vocal usage? Excuse me. Excuse me. Is it true that we can go 12 hours with constant vocal usage? I've heard that Ed Sheeran used to go 12 hours during his early years. 12 hours of constant vocal usage sounds like way too much to me. For example, which do you guys think, which are you going to sing more in? Are you guys going to sing more in a set of musical songs where you're the singer, or are you going to sing more in a vocal lesson? Which do you guys think you're going to sing more? Because this was something that surprised me. And one of my teachers broke it down for me. He was like, hey, Matt, so every time we do that, that's 13 notes. Gee, 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 gee. 26 notes. Gee, 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 gee. 39 notes. Like, and it's going up and up and up and up and up, right? And so I'm not even realizing it, but you're singing so many more notes in a vocal lesson than you actually are when you're singing regular songs, because regular songs have little breaks in them, little musical interludes. Like, you have little moments where you can catch your breath. So is it possible to go 12 hours with constant vocal usage? I wouldn't say that anytime you're singing songs, it's constant vocal usage, but that still sounds like a lot to me. Joey Colt says, every morning I wake up with my voice completely hoarse. What's a good way to remedy that? Joey, if every morning you're waking up and your voice is hoarse, I would recommend probably seeing a doctor. There's probably something going on, maybe some reflux or something like, or some allergies or something like that. You shouldn't be waking up totally hoarse every morning. Obviously, the first thing that you want to do is drink a lot of water, because that will help. So Schwat says, hey, Ramsey, I've been practicing breathing control. Oh, you already pasted that, so I already answered that. Any other good exercises for breathing? I like the Farinelli breathing exercise. So you inhale for a count, hold for a count, and exhale for a count. So for example, you can do a 4 count, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and then you can go up for 5, and then you can go up for 6, and then you can go up for 7. And so you'll get to the point where you're inhaling very slowly, let's say to 10 or 12 counts. Then you hold for 10 to 12 counts. And then you exhale very slowly for those 10 to 12 counts. And this is really good at building some of that diaphragmatic support. But breathing from the diaphragm is really quite simple. In my experience, most singers and most singing teachers put way too much emphasis on breathing exercises and way too little emphasis on actually learning how to sing from the bottom to the top part of your voice and singing on pitch. Let's see. Happiness says, what's the fee for Roadmap Premium? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there for Roadmap Premium, Happiness, but basically in the Master Your Voice monthly course, the link that I just dropped there, as soon as you enroll, that first month is called the Vocal Breakthrough Month, and that's going to include the singing roadmap. It's basically like a plan of action of, hey, I heard this in your singing, and so we need to do this and this and this and this, and then I want you to do this and that and that, and here's some custom exercises to help you improve your singing voice. It's really incredible. And like I said, anyone else who sees that link at any other time, they're going to pay $500 plus for it. But you guys are getting that special deal just because you're watching this live. Michaela says, why does it feel with songs in a certain key, I'm stuck more high pitched than the song? It's super weird. Can't really describe it. First spotted this with a TMBG song. Who's TMBG? I'm not cool. I'm not super hip, so I don't know who TMBG is. Or maybe that's the name of the band, like it's all just letters, man. It's all just acronyms. So in certain cases, if you feel like you're stuck with more high pitched than the song, so sometimes we have a tendency, oh, they might be giants. Oh, I know they might. Yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat the question? Yeah. They're really fun. So if you're a girl, which I assume you are based on your username, then you're probably going to sing them a little bit high because they're singing low and they're guys, right? So you might notice that you're singing a little bit sharp. And that happens all the time, is that people have zones and areas in their singing voice where they feel really comfortable. And so they tend to stick in those zones. So for example, like if you're a bass and you're really used to singing low in your voice, and then you have to go up to some higher notes, you might tend to sing those a little bit flat, right? Because you're so used to singing in the bottom part of your voice, you might be used to singing those notes a little bit further down. Or if you're a high soprano and I ask you to sing a low note, you might sing that sharp because that's really not comfortable for you. Your voice is meant to go more high. right? And so this is the challenge with singing opposite gendered songs is like, especially in the same key as they do, is like, the different genders, they sing in different parts of their voice to different places, different ways. Most guys, their range is 2/3 chest voice, 1/3 head voice. Whereas most ladies, it's the opposite. It's 1/3 chest voice, 2/3 head voice. That's why different songs from different genders like can actually, have opposite results there. Let's see. Let me go to the next one. So A. Harris said, I've heard other vocal coaches suggest thinking of going low when approaching high notes. What are your thoughts on this technique? That is my technique. I believe in that. And I've talked about that many, many times on my channel, is thinking down on top notes. So rather than ma, 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 and reaching up for that note, ma, 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 I imagine that note is below me. And that's really, really helpful for a couple of reasons. First of all, psychologically, if I'm not thinking about going high, then I might not raise my neck. I might not tense things in here. But instead, if I think or raise my shoulders, I see that a whole lot too. I see that with my students all the time. But instead, if you think about going low, all of a sudden you're divorcing yourself from this idea that in order to sing high notes, you have to go up. No note is high or low. It's just how much the vocal cords stretch or slacken. If you can imagine that there's a rubber band between my fingers, as I stretch that rubber band, and if I flick it, it gets higher pitched the more that I stretch it. Whereas when it's more slack, it vibrates more slowly. The vocal cords are exactly the same way. So you're not stretching up and down or anything like that. You're just stretching horizontally, right? So if instead of thinking ma 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 ma, I'm going for that high note. Ma 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 ma. C#5. That's a pretty high note for a guy, and it sounds somewhat effortless because I'm imagining that I'm on top of that note. Great question. Happiness says, yeah. I heard coaches talk about how important mastering mixed voice is for belting. Can you explain how it works? Absolutely. So here's what most singers do wrong when they go to belt. So in typically what they do is they just yell up their chest voice, right? They just push up their voice in order to get there, right? However, if you learn how to that's up to a B flat 4, by the way. Pretty high note for a guy, right? And it sounds powerful, right? If you're able to learn how to get that mixed voice first and find that balance, then you can really, really start to lean into those sounds a little bit more with more power and more resonance rather than just going up there. Here's one other way to think about it. If I go into the gym, it's my first day going to the gym, and I want to get strong, do I walk right up to the 100-pound dumbbell and start lifting that? No, I'm going to hurt myself, and probably I'm going to use my back muscles or my abs or something else like that in order to help me lift up the weight. If instead I start off with something much more reasonable, say like a 25, and I do that, then I'm actually building up the muscle. I'm building up the potential energy in that muscle to actually help me get to that point where I can lift the 100. Because if I just go straight for the 100, I'm going to hurt myself. So most singers, when they go to belt, they just use their chest voice. However, if you're able to find the mixed voice first, then you can actually build more capacity into it. Great question. Excess is not okay. Excess is not okay. How can I control my breathing better while singing? Well, really depends on what's creating the issue with your breathing and your singing. Are you singing too breathy? Like, That's a problem with breath control because basically my vocal cords are so thin that I'm just leaking air through them. Ah. Whereas instead, if you find that fuller chest voice, like ah, 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 I don't really have to think about my breath control so much because the vocal cords are closing more completely, which is improving my breath control. And just a quick reminder to everyone, the only reason that I'm opening up the Master Your Voice monthly course right there in the chat right now is because you guys are watching and participating in this live stream right now. So what the heck is Master Your Voice monthly? It's the only singing course where you get monthly personalized feedback from me, a 5-star vocal coach. You're also going to get a custom roadmap for how to work through the program, monthly personalized feedback from me, a vocal exercise library with 62 video lessons, 42 audio warm-ups, and 10 in-depth song tutorials to apply what you've learned. And then every single month, you can send in a recording of yourself singing to get feedback from me, all for one low price. It is awesome. Okay, great. So next question. Says, why is it hard to make my voice sound good and not flat? Well, you're probably singing with too much chest voice there. Because if you sing ah, 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 that's an E4 right there. If I'm pulling up my chest voice, my voice is naturally going to go flat. So for you, probably singing with a better mix is going to help you do that. It says, sorry, I missed it. Hold on. How can I find my natural singing voice without copying other singers' voices? So everyone starts off by copying at first. And then what you want to do is rather than just imitating someone's style first, you want to start learning the right techniques to actually improve your singing voice and learn, usually through some lessons that's always very, very helpful, how to actually use your voice correctly. And once you've done that, then you're going to start singing more and more like yourself because most likely the singers that you listen to and that you like, they have different voices from you, right? So we all do things differently. And so finding out how to do your own thing through the beauty of vocal technique will absolutely help you get there. Rahul says, if I don't have a vocal teacher and I'm doing home vocal exercises, practice of my vocal every morning, will it make effect in my singing because I don't have experience in vocal exercises and I just use an app for my vocal practice? So here's the thing, Rahul. Every singer needs feedback on their singing voice. And that feedback can be you recording yourself, listening back to your recordings. It could be you watching yourself sing with a vocal pitch monitor. It could be singing in front of a vocal coach in a voice lesson. It could be, signing up for my Master Your Voice monthly course where you actually send in recordings every month and I give you feedback and a grade on your singing. But every singer actually needs to get feedback on their voice because unfortunately, we sound totally different to ourselves than we do to everyone else. And so just practicing on your own is very, very difficult to get good that way. Mini Fridge. Oh, I love that name. Mini Fridge says, do you have any advice for how to avoid mouth noises like clicking? I'm doing my best to keep my mouth moisturized, but just wondering if there are any singing techniques I can be doing. First of all, Mini Fridge, I would figure out, so what are the types of sounds? Like when you say clicking, are you talking about like off of your lips? Are you talking about it from your mouth? That's what I think of when I hear clicking. But I would also so there are some noises that you can't really help. The voice is a biological instrument. Like our mouths make noise, right? And so, yes, I think keeping it moisturized is a good idea. Drinking lots of water, maybe using chapstick for your lips so that they're not smacking together so much. But I would also say if there are noises that you're making, maybe becoming aware of them so that you can learn to not make them so much. And here's what I mean by that. I noticed, excuse me, that I have a bad habit of furrowing my brow when I go up to top notes. Mom, 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 mom. And so I need to learn. It's actually helpful for me to watch myself on YouTube, on my videos that I shoot, in my feedback to students, to remember to keep my brow relaxed. Mom, 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 when I go up for those notes, because anytime you're doing something with your face or your mouth or your throat that doesn't look totally relaxed, you're probably adding something that isn't going to sound very good in your singing voice. And so it's really important to kind of like keep an eye on those types of things, so that you can become aware of them. So kind of like what I was talking to Rahul, was the idea of getting feedback on your voice, either from a vocal coach or recording yourself like a video, or recording yourself in audio. AA says, hey, I want to ask how someone who never sang should start and what topics he or she should focus on. Start taking lessons. Start off the right way. Don't just go down the YouTube rabbit hole and just watch a million lessons and videos and just get confused. Yeah, whistle register. Yeah, belting. Yeah, breath control. And think that you're getting somewhere. You're not. You're just going to get confused. Instead, you should work with a vocal coach that actually knows how to build your voice from the ground up. Now, I do have some very strong beliefs about exactly what order the voice needs to be built in. Obviously, breath control, posture, singing on rhythm, singing on pitch, singing in chest voice, singing in head voice, singing in mixed voice, singing with vocal effects like sustains and vibrato, and then working on vocal style. That's kind of the order that I would go in. And you can see that I could rattle that off really quickly because I do it a lot. Axis is not okay says how to belt. So, 2 ways that most singers learn how to belt. Number 1 is by pulling up their chest voice. Ma 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 ma. But what I'm going to recommend is instead you work on finding that in your mixed voice first, and then adding more volume and more presence. So, ma 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 ma. And then here's a fun little trick. You can take any one of those notes and you can crescendo on them. So instead of keeping it all the same volume, ma 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 ma, instead you can add more volume to each one. Ma 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 ma. That's a great way to add more volume and power and presence into those top notes. I Am Jet says, hi, I'm a singer and vocalist myself. How do I know if I'm doing a metal scream the right way or not? See a vocal coach. Erwin says, whoops, I missed it. Where'd he go? There he is. Erwin van Landwoest says, hi, Matt. I hope you're great. I never told you I'm from Bolivia. There aren't many opportunities to sing live because there isn't much support for artists. My question is, how can I create my own opportunities? Maybe singing in restaurants, bars, pubs with a speaker mic and audio tracks? What do you recommend? That's exactly what I'd recommend. Also, do you play an instrument, Erwin? Because that would be helpful too. Just going to, a local restaurant or a bar or a pub and asking, hey, how do you guys feel about hearing some free live music on, a Thursday night or whatever? Or you just have to be kind of creative about your opportunities. Like, for example, when I lived in San Francisco, I used to sing in the train stations every day. And that was very common, what we call busking, Busking, busking. And it was very, very common for people to busk in the train stations there. But then when I moved to Austin, Texas, there aren't as many opportunities to busk here because there's no big public transportation hubs. There are, but, the public transportation here isn't used like it is in a big city like San Francisco. But there is like a popular like party district in town called 6th Street. And so people play on the street corners there and they get tips that way. So you just have to be kind of creative about how you do that. And I will admit, it takes a lot more bravery to do it in a place where it's not very common. You know, I had it easy in San Francisco. It's never easy to just go and start performing places where you don't typically see it. But I definitely had it easy there because there's a lot of support for artists there. Just a quick reminder, guys, you guys can enroll in Master Your Voice monthly up until midnight Central Time tonight. I'm just leaving this deal open until then. Anyone else that clicks a link for Master Your Voice, they'll see that the cost is $500 plus. But if you enroll right now at Master Your Voice monthly, you'll see that you get personalized feedback from me every single month for one low cost. So definitely check it out before midnight tonight. Let's see. Hector says, when you say going low in high notes, is this only a mental attitude or does it involve resonance placement and larynx placement as well? Good question. So I would say, Hector, that by keeping a mental attitude of singing low on those top notes, it impacts all the other ones too. So if I go, ma, 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 if I imagine those notes are high, my larynx raises, the resonance goes much wider, right? But if I imagine that that top note is low, ma, 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 you'll notice that the resonance is in a much better place and the larynx is much more relaxed. Rather than straining up for it, and that comes from the mental attitude. For example, someone comes up to you on the street and says, "Hey, you're automatically tense, right? You're automatically, oh gosh, you scared me. There's a little fight or flight that kicks in, right? Whereas someone walks up to you and says, "Hey, you." Doesn't that feel different? Like your reaction to that sound is going to be much, much different, right? You're going to be much more relaxed. So that's an important thing. Let's see. Future T says, please, sir, how can I stop singing my lyrics as novel? I'm stuck here. I don't know what you're asking there, Future T. Ixis is not okay says, how to use chest voice and head voice. I'm new to singing. So chest voice is on the lower notes in your voice, typically found with wider, more open vowels. I get na, 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 na. That really full, resonant, kind of ugly. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. Na, 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 na. So chest voice comes from the vocal cords closing really completely like that. Look like a seal. Right? But when you go up to the higher notes in your voice, so that is when the vocal cords are closing much less than the chest voice. It's kind of just the top parts are touching there, and typically found with more heady, narrow, close vowels like oo or e. So So really, really good question. So you want to discover both of them, the chest voice and the head voice, and then you want to learn how to blend them together. And the way that you blend them together is usually by doing exercises that are going to go from the chest voice to the head voice and back down on more mid vowels, such as like a no, 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 or a nay, nay, nay. Nay, 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 nay. So I sang from the bottom in the chest voice up to the top in the head voice and back down on a nay, nay, nay. Great question. I'm going to answer two more and then I've got to run. So let's see. Our Aravi girl says, I have the right technique, but why do I sound like garbage? It's a really good question. If you're singing with the right technique, you're probably not going to sound like garbage. And typically there's something that really, really small, like little changes that we can make to your singing, Aravi, that will improve in massive changes. So maybe consider checking out the Master Your Voice monthly course that I just posted, because every single month you're going to get feedback from me about what it is that you need to work on. Most likely there's something going on there about why you would sound like garbage. Dev Draghi says, I have problems with high notes. When I try to sing in mixed voice, I compress my head voice, but when I do that, I sound really bright and thin, similar to head voice, but not head voice or falsetto. Huh. Okay. Let me read this one more time. Okay. Problem is with high notes. When I try to sing in mixed voice, I compress my head voice, but when I do that, I sound really bright and thin, similar to head voice, but not head voice or falsetto. Yeah, I'd have to hear you to know the answer for sure. It really just depends. Based on your description, it's really hard to tell. Um, Icy Ice says, "Hello, how can I depress my tongue when singing? My tongue keeps hovering up when singing." Oh, so you have the Ken Tamplin disease? Ah, I don't know why. Ken Tamplin always Ken's a great singer, man, but he's got some weird stuff going on with his tongue, right? I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he always lifts his tongue up when he sings. And what that does is that's going to raise your larynx and that's going to create that brighter sound. I know he likes that la a lot. La. See, I can't even do it because I've trained my tongue not to raise up so much. Anyway, we all love Ken. But how can you depress your tongue? You're going to have to watch yourself. So, watch yourself in the mirror and make sure that that tongue is touching those bottom front teeth at the gum line. So here are my teeth, here are my gums. Your tongue is touching right here where they meet. Rather. That's what's able to create a much more consistent sound from the bottom to the top. Okay, last question. So Schwad, I've answered a million of your questions, so let me give someone else a shot. Destination Shot says, I sing and record my voice every day, and it sounds different every time. My question is, how can I improve my singing? So Destination, it sounds different every day, even though you're recording the same thing, or are you recording different things every day? And that's why it sounds different. What I would recommend is that you practice some exercises, find some exercises that work well with your voice and sing those every day and record those and see if you can get some more consistency in your sound. All right, guys, just a quick reminder. We're just leaving enrollment for Master Your Voice Monthly open until tonight at midnight Central. The only reason you guys are going to get that link is by watching this live stream. Any other video of mine that you watch is going to have a link to Master Your Voice, but it's going to start at $500. So definitely check out that deal there. I appreciate everyone for being here. Have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.